Welcome everyone, wherever you are. This is Mr. Chinda. I want to welcome everybody to Married Live TV. This is going to be an awesome day. I'm super excited to have you. So, wherever you are, just say good afternoon, good evening, good morning. You're chilling down, relaxing. I'm excited that you chose to be with us today. And I want you to know that we're going to have an awesome time. We're going to have an amazing time today. So, welcome, every one of you, wherever you are tuning in from. I'm super excited that you chose to join us today. For those on YouTube, thank you so much for joining us. For those on different social media sites like Facebook, we are really happy that you chose to be with us today. So, I'm really excited. Now, before we dive into what we're going to be having today, I just want to make sure that, wherever you are, you can hear me clearly. Just let me know if you can just type on the chat box and tell me that you can hear me clearly, whether on Facebook, whether on YouTube. Just type and say you can hear me. Say, yes, I can hear you. I just want to make sure that we don't have any interruption in our discussion today. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining. I'm excited. I'm really happy that you chose to be with us today. And I can tell you it's going to be an awesome section. So just be part of us and you're going to enjoy what we're going to do here today. So please, wherever you are, I will encourage you just to let me know if you can hear me clearly. So I'm just going to play an intro video and then I'll be back so that we can dive in to what we have today. I'm excited to share this content and I believe that it's going to provide a lot of value to you. So just hang on, don't die. I will be back shortly. So, welcome back, wherever you are. Thank you so much for joining us today. This is going to be an awesome class. I want to appreciate every one of you that is tuning in to become part of this section. So, this section is going to be quite an interesting one because I have decided that we are just going to make it very interactive. Okay. And I've decided also to use a slide today just to provide more value and more content to really support you. Because today, what I just want to do here is to support you and to help you understand this number one criteria in creating a satisfying marriage. Because I believe that if we can get this right, if we can understand how this work, and we can see the power behind what I'm going to share today, you will begin to see progress. You're going to see differences in your relationship, in your marriage. And even for those that are even yet to get married, you begin to see better way of relating with your other significant half before you make the final decision of saying yes to the individual. So please just join me today and provide your comment in the box. You can also ask your questions as well, and I will do everything I can to become part of supporting you to understand what exactly we are going to be doing here today. So, welcome again for all those joining from YouTube. I'm excited because Married Life TV basically is a channel that focuses on providing premium content to support you build a strong, a stable, and a satisfying marriage. What I'm about to share here today, I could easily charge for it. I could easily, put something together and sell it, right? But I choose to bring this out here because I know that the value that this is going to bring can bring so profound changes in your marriage and relationship today. And what I'm sharing today is not just for those that have just been married, newlywed. It's for those that have been there for a while, 5 years, depending on your marital time frame, whether it's 5 years or 10 years or 15 years or 20 years. It doesn't matter. The key thing is that you can begin to use what I'm talking about to begin to reinvent and see the changes that will happen in your relationship and in your marriage. You can also share this link as well with your friends, with your family, and get some other people to join us in today's class. So I want to welcome you to class because I know that this class is going to bring a lot of value in your relationship. Okay, so let's just introduce what we're going to be talking about today. The number one criteria in creating a satisfying marriage. Number one criteria in creating a satisfying marriage. Okay, before I dive in, can you just put on the chat box, okay, on the comment, tell me what do you think is this number one criteria? Wherever you are at the moment, I want you to tell me what do you think is this number one criteria in creating. Look at the word creating a satisfying marriage. Just help me put on the comment box if you're on YouTube, if you're on Facebook, depending on which platform you are in. Can you just type and tell me what do you think is the number one criteria in building a satisfying marriage? Just put on the chat box. I want to know that you are with me and I want to know that you are hearing me and I want you to participate in this presentation of this evening while we're in the UK. Where you are might be morning, afternoon, or night, depending. But over here in the UK, is late evening. So, what do you think is the number one criteria in creating a satisfying marriage? You can put on the comment box, and I will see that. I will come back to it later. So, the number one criteria in creating a satisfying marriage. Marriage is quite an interesting union. Marriage is a beautiful relationship. There is no other relationship that you can equate with marriage. The way God designed it was in such a way because He wanted two people coming together to become strategic in their lives, to become the best version of their lives, and to see themselves create something that one person perhaps may not entirely do. I mean, it's not like being an individual is not enough or being single is not great. It's amazing, it's great. But I still believe that for God to institute this thing called marriage, then there's a reason. There's something that God wants us to understand, and there's something that God wants us to know and to become. Now, when you look around you today, there's a lot of things that is happening about relationships, about marriages, and you begin to wonder, are you sure even this thing is worth it? Because if you look at the social media, if you look at the tabloids and the newspapers, you look at magazines, you look at TV's news, a lot of things you hear, and even on so-called movies today, the way marriage is being depicted, sometimes it can be very uncomfortable. You might be wondering what's the point of even being in this thing, because it has been dented with all kind of uncomfortable things that even people that are in the relationship, people are in the marriage, may be wondering, what's the point? And maybe you even listening to me now, or you're going to listen in the replay, you might be thinking the same, because you're not entirely satisfied in your relationship, you're not entirely happy in your relationship, but actually you intended to have a great and amazing relationship, an amazing marriage. Nobody starts marriage in anger. Nobody starts marriage in hatred. Nobody starts marriage in pain, in serious abuse. Nobody starts marriage in a place of complete confusion, despair, depression, anxiety, a place of pain, a place of suicidal thoughts. You don't start marriage, you don't start relationship like that. Okay? So, but God still wants it to be enjoyable. He wants it to be exciting. So this is the reason why I decided to have this today. So whatever is the situation, whatever is the state of your relationship right now, I want you to know that there is hope. As we look at this together, I still believe that, if you understand this number one criteria, you're possibly going to go very, very far. Now let's see. Martha said communication is the number one criteria. Okay, thank you so much. I still need more people to tell me, what do you think is this number one criteria to build a successful relationship? All right. Okay, let's go a little bit further. I want to say something about this quote here, because many people that get married, many people that get into relationship, they do not realize that, one happy wedding day is not equal to happy ever after in marriage. Because if one happy day of your life, of your wedding day, of the day that you've planned and you've done so much, for those that are married today, you begin to know that just because you have great wedding day, for those that have been married for some time now, you might be thinking that, oh, that's how it's going to be throughout. That is how it's going to be forever. Okay. But not realizing and not knowing that just because you have a great day, that was a lot of laughter, for those that are in the relationship today for some time, you will realize that it's not entirely the same. It's not entirely the way, because there are a lot of other things you need to do to make your relationship happy ever after. And it's going to be intentional. It's something that you need to make up your mind to build. Right? Okay, so let's take a look again why this is very, very important if you really want to have a satisfying relationship. 6 out of 10 couples are unhappy in their relationship. Now, we're not saying that they're divorced. We're not saying that they are separated. We're not saying that they're no longer together. They're in the relationship, but they are not happy. So, which means that it's possible their happiness is very wave-like. Their happiness is not consistent. They are happy today, and then the time they're going to be happy again, maybe the middle of the year, 6 months later. Now you might be wondering, okay, why will I not be happy in my relationship? You can try as much as you can to make yourself happy, which is very, very important, which is very, very good, because you need to create your own happiness. You need to ensure that you continue to build yourself up in order to be satisfied in your own personal life. But just imagine, if you have your other significant half, you have your spouse with you, living with you, and if your spouse is displaying some behavior, some attitude, and your spouse is acting in a particular way that is so annoying, so upsetting, and a lot of things your spouse is doing is just what you completely detest, very despicable acts, either in their words, in their behavior, in their attitude, how do you think you're going to react? How do you think you're going to feel? How do you think this will make you act? This can affect your happiness level. This can affect your state in that relationship, in that marriage. And this is why, what we are talking about today can profoundly help you and support you to become even better, and see how you can navigate some of these challenges and these difficulties in your relationship, so that you can begin to build a relationship and a marriage that is going to be strong, stable, and satisfying in your own life. If you look at the screen, you see the absence of what I'm talking about today, the absence of not taking what I'm going to share today very seriously, you will see a lot of this acts and practices in marriages and relationships. And as a marriage coach, I have seen a lot, I've heard a lot, I've read a lot. And I can tell you that these activities, these behaviors, and this attitude are not pleasant in any relationship, in any marriage. It cannot build satisfaction. It cannot build happiness. It cannot help you to evolve to a place where you are fulfilled in your relationship and in your process of building a marriage that is going to last for a very long time. Many people are going through this every single day, every single week, every single month, and it can be very, very uncomfortable. If you are desiring to be in a better place in your marriage, in your relationship, you are desiring to be in a better place whereby you are satisfied, you are happy, then you're going to make every effort. You're going to do everything you can not to have these things in your marriage. Because when these things exist in your marriage, when these things are found in your marriage, there is no way it's going to build a place of bliss, of happiness, of joy, of peace, of enjoyment. So these things will definitely reduce your happiness level in your marriage and in your relationship. So what I'm talking about today, if it is absent in your marriage, if it is absent in your relationship, a lot of these things you see on the screen: infidelity, lying, divorce, boredom, secrecy, obstinate spouse, negativity, broken trust, rejection, resentment, emotional neglect, just name silent treatment, mourning, conflict, issues from one place to the other will become the pattern of the day. But that is not what you want for your marriage. That is not what you want for your relationship. So this is why this one thing I'm going to share, one thing I'm going to discuss today can profoundly help you to avoid significantly what we have just shown on the other screen. Now, why should you trust me? Why should you even listen to what I have to say? Why should you even take me seriously? Well, I just want to tell you just very brief story. How did I come into the relationship space? How did I become very fascinated about marriage and relationship? It's because I had a pain. I lost someone. You see, my amazing sister that you can see on the screen here became a victim of probably what I'm going to talk about today in her own marriage, in her own relationship. She was an incredible lady, an amazing woman, very passionate. She loved life. She wanted to see other women succeed. She wanted to see people fulfill their dreams and passions and their goals. But in the process of her trying to achieve this as a lawyer, as a journalist, very passionate in what she does, she fell in love, as most people do. But as something that happened behind her falling in love, in the process, she started getting a lot of abuse, emotional, financial, domestic. Just think about anything that is so uncomfortable that I have shown you on the other slide: broken trust, lack of appreciation, infidelity, everything you can think about, this woman was going through. And because of her status, she was so broken to even let people know about it. And you know what happened? In the process of her pain, depression, anxiety, and completely in an abusive and toxic relationship, she had a stroke. But it was marriage, it was relationship that created it. It's lack of what I'm going to talk about tonight that created this in her marriage, in her relationship. And she faced this unbelievable, uncomfortable abuse. Terrible. And she was flown abroad. They did everything possible to save her life. When she became paralyzed in that relationship, she came back, and the family was doing everything possible to help her have a life. But unfortunately, what she went through was just so much. And then, and one of these fateful evening after she ate, and my sister passed away. She died. When she died, that was where everything changed. The effect of her death was so profound on me that I I felt like I was lost. I felt like there was no longer life in me. For such a talent, for such an incredible woman to lose her life because of relationship, because of marriage, and she's no longer here. So her pain, her torture, and everything she went through that I came to understand drove me to what I'm doing today when it comes for relationship. So her death triggered my passion, triggered my desire to be in this space of helping and supporting couples to navigate all relationship and personality challenges so they can build marriages and relationship that is strong, stable, and satisfying. I didn't want her death to be in vain. Though she's no longer here because of a relationship that never worked out, because of someone that never had proper care and support for such a great woman like this, inflicted so much pain to the extent that she lost her life. But her death gave me the spark, the fire, the passion, the desire to be in the relationship space. So even though she's no longer here, I still believe that her legacy and her story, her death has brought out a lot of significant movement and shift in my own life, in my own relationship, and also in the lives of my client that I coach and I support every single time. So her death is not in vain. And because of her death, it gave rise to me being in the relationship space, supporting couples and helping couples to become the best version of themselves in their own relationships so they can build a relationship that they will enjoy, emotionally connected, intellectually connected, spiritually connected, and physically connected, so they can be happy just like God intended from the beginning. And also, I wanted to give my wife the best experience ever as a man, knowing what my sister went through and also died in the relationship. I had no other choice to do everything to make sure that the woman that comes into my life will have the best experience ever when it comes for relationship. And that is what drove me to what I'm doing today. And I've been privileged, to support many couples from different races, from different countries, to build relationship that they are satisfied, they are happy, they are fulfilled, and gives them the peace and the internal satisfaction that they always desire. And my sister's passing away, my sister dying, also gave rise for the product that you are looking at today, the Law Framework Mastery Program, which is a program that is going to be launched on March 21st, next month. And also the book that I've written and so many other things I do within this relationship space gave me the opportunity to be able to passionately see that, relationships and couples that come across my path will live instead of die like my sister did. Ignorance can kill. So don't wait for it to happen to you, because when you are dead, you are dead. So this is why one thing that I'm going to talk about tonight, the one criteria that I see that can profoundly help and support your relationship and build it to a place whereby you'll be happy and satisfied, is not something you should trivialize at all. Just imagine, just imagine how would you look like, your mindset, your marriage preparation, your what you're doing today, the clarity you can have, and everything you do to help you learn, unlearn, and become the best version of yourself in everything you do, so that you can become this couple, this individual, whether before getting married or whether in the marriage already, to see change, to see enjoyment, to love your marriage, to love your relationship the way it ought to be. So for me today, I will unpack and diffuse any confusion around marital preparation, marital satisfaction, that you can focus and become the best version of yourself by the things you do previously. Because what I'm talking about today, it's a personal thing. You need to build it up. It's something that you need to be passionately work on it with your previous self. Every single thing you do will lead to this place of satisfaction in your marriage, but you have to create it. You have to make it happen. So it's a personal choice, not a chance, that determines your marital destiny and overall satisfaction while you are in it. You don't just have great relationship, great marriages if you don't become intentional or passionate about it. So personal choice is something that comes from you. It doesn't happen by chance if you want satisfaction and happiness in your relationship. So when you do not have what I'm about to talk about today, this is what happened. You see, one of the most common, it doesn't matter which country, whether which continent, which race, one of the most common factor for divorce and separation and pain and misery in relationship today is unreasonable behavior. And because of unreasonable behavior, and by the time I begin to tell you this number one criteria that can help your relationship and can help you build your relationship up, you understand why unreasonable behavior is there in relationships. So, what exactly is this one inevitable criteria for a marriage to work? What is this thing that I've been talking about that can help your relationship work, that can make it better? What exactly is this one inevitable criteria for your marriage to work? What is it? Okay. If you're watching wherever you are, please can you just tell me? I know someone said communication the last time. Okay. Martha said communication. And then someone others said, okay, that's my wife. Change the chin that said time spent together. Okay. That's interesting. Okay. If you're watching wherever you are, whether on YouTube or you're watching on Facebook, please, I would like you to drop your comment. What is this one thing that you think that is the criteria to make a relationship work? What is this one thing? This one thing. So you can put on the chat. Let me see. Okay, well, I will have some guesses, and hopefully we'll be able to talk more about this. All right. What is this one thing? I mean, think about it in your marriage right now, in your relationship. What is this one thing that is so powerful that if you do this one thing, if you practice this one thing, if you try to understand this one thing, your relationship will shift. There will be transformation. There will be massive change in your marriage and in your relationship if you just cultivate this one thing. I'm going to tell you what it is now. Okay. So let's see. What is this one thing? What is this one thing? Can you see that? Understanding. The key to marital happiness. Wow. Understanding. The power of understanding is beyond what anybody can think or even fathom. As I go a little bit deeper into this presentation, you understand why understanding is critical in building a relationship, building a marriage, enjoying your time together with your spouse. Understanding. Now, someone said communication. Great. Communication obviously is good, is great. But if you communicate and you don't understand, if you communicate and you misunderstand, you're not going to have great marriages. There are people that talk, but they just talk, but they don't seek to understand their spouse. They don't seek to understand what is going on. And this is why, at the end of the day, unreasonable behavior begin to surface. If you spend time together, I mean, you go on holiday, you come back, and you discuss, you sleep, you do whatever you want to do. If you do not understand your spouse, even your time together will not even make meaning because your spouse is going to chat, your spouse is going to discuss, your spouse is going to talk to you. So understanding is so crucial. And I'm going to tell you why, even the way God says this. Now, this is the Holy Book in Proverbs chapter 4, verse 7. I just love this scripture. He said, wisdom is the principal thing, is the supreme thing. Therefore, get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get understanding. Now, look, this is profound, absolutely profound. Watch this. Whatever you think you have gotten, whatever you think you possess, whatever you think you know, whatever you think you've accumulated, whatever is your title in your marriage, in your relationship, whatever is the background, whatever is your person, whatever you think you are, if you don't have understanding of yourself, understanding of your spouse, there is no way you are going to have a successful marriage and a successful relationship. I mean, think about everything that happened in marriages that makes it to break. that make the relationship not to be exciting, that make the relationship not to be profound or change, it springs from lack of understanding. Every conflict, every trouble, every issues, every challenges, broken trust, infidelity, lack of appreciation, rejection, pain, emotional neglect, emotional abuse, every form of issues that exist in marriage and relationship spring from a place of misunderstanding. And I'm going to show you how you can properly understand yourself and properly understand your spouse so that you can build a relationship that is enviable, a relationship that is transformative, a relationship that will change and bring a paradigm shift in your life. So, whatever you are, and whatever you do, and whatever you act out, even your behavior, just think for a minute. Wherever you are watching this, or you're gonna watch this in replay, just have like a couple of seconds reflection and retrospect in your relationship, in your marriage right now, whatever you are going through right now. If you had proper understanding of the situation and circumstances in your marriage, I mean right now or right this season, what do you think will be the outcome of understanding in your relationship right now? Just think about all the issues you've had with your husband, the issues you've had with your wife, the issues you've had since you got married, or you are newly married, or all these things that you have gone through. Or maybe you are separated right now, or maybe you are divorced, or maybe you are even in the process of getting away, or maybe you are feeling this boredom, this disconnect from your husband, from your wife. You are feeling this rejection, you are feeling this, you are being choked up, you are choked in a relationship that's supposed to be blissful. Whatever it is that you have ever been through or you're going through right now, can you just reflect? If there was proper understanding, do you envision for these things to happen? One of the biggest problems and challenges in marriages and relationships today is misunderstanding. Spouses do not understand themselves fundamentally well. And this cut across the board. It doesn't matter whether you're an African, you're European, you're American, you're Asian. It doesn't matter. I have seen this over and over again. When you don't have proper understanding of you don't have proper understanding of your spouse, the effect is tremendous. Sometimes the effect and the consequence of not understanding yourselves will lead to the breakdown of the relationship. Or maybe right now in your marriage, in your relationship. Okay, I'm really sorry if this is a little bit bringing some memory back or triggering something in your marriage, in your relationship right now, but I want to help you out. If understanding was taken seriously, if you are in a place whereby you understand yourselves well, your level of happiness, your level of togetherness, or maybe in your relationship right now, maybe you are not out of the relationship, you are still there, but you want more. You want to feel valued, you want to feel respected, you want to feel treasured. And when these things are not there, it becomes a big issue. And this is why we have all these troubles. Now, what exactly is understanding? Because it's very important we define that. The ability to understand something or comprehension, where you see sympathetic awareness and tolerance. That's understanding. So the question is, does your husband tolerate you? Does your husband actually understand you? Does your wife actually comprehend you well? Is your husband and your wife, are they in tune of who you are and what you're supposed to be, and your expression of yourself? There's a synonym that I take very seriously when I talk about understanding, is comprehension. To comprehend. Now, that's the dictionary word for comprehend. It means to apprehend, to grasp, to see, to take in, to perceive, to design, to make out, to puzzle out, to recognize, to keep up with, to master, to get to know, to follow, to fathom, to get to the bottom of, to penetrate, to divine, to interpret, to unravel, to decipher, to see the light about, to envisage. Wow, 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 wow. Let me just put that on the bigger screen for you to understand. Can you imagine what I'm talking about? I mean, if a man or a woman in a marriage, in a relationship, I mean, this is very fat, guys. I mean, just think about this, right? Can you imagine if your husband and your wife can keep up with you as they discover you more? If they can master different aspects of you and you, if they can get to know more, if they can put some puzzles together, if they can recognize you, if they can unravel some certain things about yourselves, if they are able to see the light of day by continuous improvement and discovery of yourselves in the marriage and relationship, can you imagine how tolerable, how sympathetic? Can you imagine how accommodating your relationship will be? So it's going to turn your marriage, your relationship completely around. The power of understanding and comprehending each other. Right. Let's dive a little bit more. Okay. Let's see what exactly now should we do. Okay. I'm going to talk about this. This is what I'm going to do. Because of time, I will just focus on my section A. 4 steps to achieve lasting understanding within your marriage. I'll focus on section A. And then I'm going to do section B another time. But this time around, we're going to focus on section A. Who am I? Which human category are you? What am I? What is your power offering or weak offering? Because you can't understand something that you are not familiar with. You can't understand something that you don't know. So before you can even understand anything, let's start with you first. I mean, you watching this right now, you being part of this presentation, because we're talking about the number one criteria in creating a satisfying marriage. And I just told you that that criteria is understanding. And we've defined our understanding is the ability to envision, the ability to understand, the ability to check, the ability to keep up with the changes that's happening in your spouse and in your relationship. Every situation and circumstances, either pleasant or unpleasant, either good or bad, either deadly or not deadly. Whatever situation and circumstances between you and your wife, between you and your husband, springs from the place of either they understand you or they don't understand you. So if you don't come from that place, then there's going to be a lot of challenges. There's going to be a lot of difficulties, right? This is why knowing who you are is the fundamental thing first before building a great and amazing relationship. And then secondly, what am I? And what's the content of your life? I mean, what do you bring to the relationship? What do you bring to the marriage? And what is your personal transformation and change, either from your intellectual level, from your spiritual level, from your emotional level, okay, from your physical level, from your mental level? Every aspect of you must be part of what brings the positive, powerful offering into your relationship and marriage. Okay, let's start with the first one. Who am I? Hmm. This is one of the questions that many people in this life they find it very hard to discover. Who am I? Where is my origin? Where am I going? What exactly are my potential and my natural abilities? Many people go through life not knowing who they are supposed to be. Due to lack of this knowledge, they become what they are not and enter marriage as another person. I mean, you might be listening to me right now. Okay. This is going to be quite profound. Because if you don't know who you are, then it's going to be difficult for you to know somebody else. That's one. And then number two, it's also going to be difficult for even somebody to accept you because you are not you. Does that make sense? Because you're not you. So who are you? We're looking at the section A. Who am I and what am I? Because if you do not know you, if you do not understand you, if you do not love you, if you do not know how you operate, what you operate, likes and dislikes, and your fundamental being and the category where you belong to, what's your origin, then that will profoundly affect the way you see yourself. That will profoundly affect the way you carry yourself. That will profoundly affect even the way you are in your relationship, in your marriage, because you're not going to be the true person that you are. So understanding who you are is crucial in building a relationship that you will enjoy and that is worthwhile. Okay, so why do you need to understand you? Why do you need to know you? You know, why is it that this is very important to you first? Why does it matter to know you first? Because if you want to be understood in your marriage, in your relationship, why is it important that you have to be known? If you don't know you, then you will live a different life from what you were created for, and it will be a very hard and mismatched living. Some people in their marriage, in their relationship today, because they don't know themselves, they don't know who they are, so they are projecting a different image, a different identity, a different person in their marriage, in their relationship, which is not authentic, which is not genuine, which is not a place of originality, a place of authenticity. They are coming from the place of fake. They're coming from a place of copycat. They're coming from a place where they are not fully themselves. Now think about this. If you're not you and you don't understand you, obviously your mindset will be something else. Your attitude will be something else. Your behavior will be something else. The way you are, the way you behave, the way you talk, everything will not be you. And the moment you are not you, there is no way understanding is going to be achievable in your life or in somebody else's life. Sometimes maybe your spouse is not even getting you right now because you don't even know you. Your spouse don't even know you. You are changing like chameleon. There is no fundamental standard of your life. There is no fundamental values or principles. There's no fundamental thing they can say, this is my wife, this is my husband, this is what I know. Because what they know now is not original. What they know now is not from the place of authenticity. It's just fake. And sometimes this thing will cause a lot of mismatch living in the relationship, and it will create a lot of tension, a lot of problems, a lot of trouble, a lot of pain. And many times the relationship will break. And sometimes, if you're out of that relationship and be wondering, okay, this is what happened, this is what happened. But if you take a very internal checkup, a very internal soulful retrospect, you will realize that even in the relationship, you were not authentic. In the relationship, you were not genuine. Because you don't even know who you are. You don't even know the category where you belong to. You don't know the originality of your potentials, of your creativity, of what God has given to you. So you approach your marriage as somebody that is different from the original person that God has created to become part of that relationship. You see, when God made you in his own image, there was something unique about you. There's something he deposited. There's something different about you. And God said, okay, you're going to join this man, this woman. And in the process of you trying to join this man, this woman, you are now fundamentally unaware of the crucial thing that make you, the identity of you. So if they cannot understand you, then how are they even going to treat you? Because a lot of the troubles and the challenges we'll find in the relationship is this: because of lack of understanding of you, because you don't even know you. You're so confused about you. You're so confused about your own life. And then you're wondering, my husband don't understand me. My wife don't understand me, because you are not even understanding yourself. So the image you're projecting, the behavior you're projecting, the attitude, the lifestyle, and what they see is fake. So they are actually trying to respond to a fake human being in the marriage, in the relationship, an honest, someone that is not honest, because you are not authentic, you're not real. So they find it difficult to even relate with you, to be with you, because they are responding to somebody that is not you. It's such a difficult thing to please somebody that is not authentic. It's such a difficult thing to please somebody that is not real. But that cannot happen if you have chosen not to be you. Right. So where I'm going with this is basically self-discovery. You need to discover yourself. My category. Okay. What's your category? What's your class? Now, this is not fundamentally a black and white thing. There's variations, there's dimensions, but at least it's a place to start. It's a place of finding out, what is the template of my life? What is the template of my creation? What did I take from my father, from my mother? Because the biggest influencer of a person's life is not because you went to university. It's not because you came from a particular family. It's not because you are rich or poor. It's not because you're a man or woman. It's not because you have a very particular friend, a confidant. It's not because you are so exposed, you are in different countries, you've traveled around. The greatest, biggest influencer of your life is your template of creation, which is your personality, your temperament. You can't run away from this. All right. There are other things that fundamentally will help to mold you to this person that you become. However, there is the original one, there is the authentic one that is coming from the place of DNA, from the place of fertilization, from the place of womb, from the place of your mother's womb, from the place of initial creation. That thing is called template. You took part of the trait from your father, took part of the trait from your mother, and then from whatever God have designed you to be, you came out. And by coming out, you fall in a particular category. And living life without understanding this category that you belong to can become a profound issue, even in your marriage and relationship, as you begin to evolve in your life. Obviously, you're going to have connection with your divine, intelligent designer who is God. You're going to get involved in seeking and finding out, in prayer, in communication. But there are other ways as well that can support that process to validate the spiritual connection that you have with God. You can take a free temperament test from the site that I've just shown you there. Okay, now, the reason why I'm saying this, I use myself as an example, right? And I want to show you today. This is very, very important. This is very profound. Because if you know you, if you understand you, if you know the way things work with you, if you know where you are, then you will come from a place of originality. It's very, very important you understand who you are. And that is what I want to share with you today. And I want to use myself as an example. Okay. Now, check this out. This is me. I am everyone. I'm everyone here. Now, when you are everyone, do you know what happens? You become everything to everybody. The stage two is I am two or more persons. Maybe you started discovering, you started finding out, but you realize that you are not still really you because you've not know who you really are. So in that process, you are still trying to find out. So before and during, and then you begin to understand that this is me. You see the last picture there? That is me, sanguine choleric. There are other variations of me. There are other dimensions of other influences over my life. But the template of me, the biggest influencer of my life, is what I've just shown you now, sanguine choleric. That is where I categorize myself. And I can't deny that because this is me. Right. Now let's look at this. Because if you have understanding of the temperament, it will help you to begin to know where you belong to in terms of what you are and what you are not. This is where I say the power offering, but we're going to get back to that in a minute. So the character is the personality which is affected by the influences of this life that you have. The character of a person is therefore the product of his personality plus all external influences. So the way you act in your relationship, in your marriage right now, the way you behave, the way you talk and respond, and the attitude you display in your marriage and relationship is directly proportional to your personality makeup, and then with other external influences of your life. Now, what are those influences? Your parental training, your background, the school you went to, the educational level that you've achieved, the friendship you have, the place of worship you go, your mentors, the Bible you read, the environment you grew up with, the communities that you are involved in, various life experiences that you've experienced. Even being a woman is dynamic, being a male is dynamic. Everything about you plus your personality becomes your character. Remember, I told you from facts and statistics all over the world, the biggest issue, the biggest cause of divorce in every relationship and in every marriage is what we call unreasonable behavior. Unreasonable behavior is basically a behavior that you are not thoughtful, a behavior that you are not careful, a behavior that you are not considerate, you're not tolerant, a behavior that you don't care, a behavior that you are just nonchalant and indifferent about your relationship, about your life. So when you are in that place, what happens? Then it's going to create a lot of pain, a lot of trouble. And that behavior is due to your character. And your character is your personality, your temperament traits, plus the external influences of your life since you came to earth. So if you want to display a great and amazing relationship, this is where things happen and this is where things can change for you, right? So let's just go a little bit further, okay? Because when that happens, you begin to change your life, you begin to change your ways, and things begin to turn around for you in your relationship. So my question is, do you know your temperament? Do you know why you act the way you do today? Can you be honest to yourself today? Can you imagine what will happen if you know your temperament so well? That will help your relationship because that's the place of understanding. That's beginning to discover and beginning to find out what X will you do. And secondly, is what am I? What am I? You know, a lot of married couples are operating in the wrong identities of their lives. In their marriages, you see a lot of identity crisis between husband and wife because they are not their true selves. They are not their true selves. And because they are not their true selves, what happened in the relationship? What happened in the marriage? It becomes a difficult thing, a difficult place for anybody to live in because they're operating in different identities. Now, why do you need to understand what you are made up of? Why do you need to understand what is inside of you? Why do you need to understand what is unique about you in your marriage, in your relationship? Because we say you need to understand yourself first before somebody else can understand you. Because if you don't understand yourself, and if you come from a place of confused identity, a place of confused understanding of who you are, or putting up a different mask of something that you are not, then your husband, your wife will relate to you based on what you're projecting, based on what you're doing. And then there's going to be conflict. There'll be internal conflict because inside of you is saying, no, this is not you. This is not you. And because this is not you, there's an issue, there's a trouble. And before you realize it, you find out that you are not in a place of happiness and joy and satisfaction in your marriage. So now you have known who you are, then what is inside of you? What are you made up of? Why does this matter to know what is inside of you? This will position you to act, work, become the best version of yourself. And when you become more, then you become emotionally intelligent. But you will only operate in your strength zone. Remember, I talked about, knowing what you are will help you to differentiate your power offering and your weak offering. When I say power offering, I'm talking about your strength zone. What you are able to bring into the relationship that makes it unique, different, and full of lovely flavors that can make your relationship thrive. But the weak offering is whereby you begin to walk, you begin to do some certain things to develop those areas, and sometimes just manage those areas effectively. But we're going to talk about that more in section B. So this one, we are talking about what are you made up of. Remember, I talked about our category and I told you I'm sanguine choleric for myself. And for others, they can be different categories. And then for me, my core trait is sanguine and choleric. So you can see that uniqueness. You find yourself, well, what is my trait? Where do I belong to? What are the things that I am bringing? What is the strength zone of my life in the relationship? Because with that, you'll be able to understand how you operate and how you act in that relationship that can build your marriage to be favorable. It's okay. This is me. And I use myself as an example. This is me. I'm sanguine choleric. That is my natural trait. That is my natural bringing. This is who I am. Absolutely, because I don't want to pretend. I don't want to be somebody else. I don't want to copy other people because even if I copy you, I'm not going to be you. At the end of the day, I'm fake. I'm not original. But this is me, sanguine choleric. And each aspect of me have unique blend to bring to the relationship. And it's important as well that I know that. And I know my strength power and I know my weak power. And that will now help me to know how to merge, which is the second part of my presentation in my next section. I'm going to go deep dive into how to merge when you find out who you are with your spouse. But today, I just want to discover what is me and then what am I made up of? Because what I'm made up of is not just about work, it's not just about business, it's not just about potentials, it's not just about achieving this, achieving that, it's not just about any more money and becoming this and getting all the accolades. How does what I am affect my relationship? How does my template of creation, what value, what am I bringing to the table with me? And by understanding that, that will profoundly help my relationship to be better and to grow. But if I don't know that, then how am I even going to do anything in the marriage? How am I even going to do anything in the relationship? So knowing yourself is fundamentally key, because you will not be a copycat. You will not be what you are not. Because if you know yourself, you understand who you are, then you'll be original, right? So this is who I am, and I'm not shy about that. I'm not shy to say this is Chinder, this is me, and this is what I bring to my relationship. This is who I am. But there are aspects of me that I also need to work on. By understanding those specific areas, by knowing those areas, then it will help me to bring the best version of myself to my relationship. Now the question is, do you know yourself? And to what extent? Do you regularly examine the areas you need to work on? You and not them. Because it's very easy to say, oh, that's your problem. My wife is my problem. My husband is my problem. The government is my problem. And you have all this, blame that, blame everything around your life. And you don't even know that some of these things are coming from who you are. Or maybe because you don't have the real identity of yourself in the relationship, in the marriage. So let's just talk about the summary of achieving understanding in your marriage. See, we need to want it. If you want to understand and achieve understanding in your marriage, in your relationship, fundamentally, you need to want it. You must desire understanding. Because if in your marriage, in your relationship, because you've known yourself, you've known you, and you've known the area of your life that is strong and the area of your life that is weak, then you will admit that this is who I am and I want to have understanding in this marriage. I mean, if you just think about anything in your marriage, in your relationship right now. And you tell your husband, you tell your wife, you said, okay, I want to understand this. I really want to understand this. I want to understand the situation, the circumstances around this. I want to understand this. You are coming from the place of empathy. You listen. You're not trying to respond or judge or become critical or defensive. And all these behaviors and attitude that will just make understanding run away. Just, I want to understand this. So you must want understanding. You can't want understanding if you don't know you, if you don't know what you're made up of, because you're just going to be confused in the relationship and you even cause more headache or more pain to your spouse because you don't even know how this thing work. But if you understand yourself and understand who you are, then it's very easy to want understanding in your marriage, in your relationship. Because remember I said, what is the definition of understanding? It's where you comprehend things, where you envision things, where things come to light. It's where you become sympathetic in awareness. It's where what you now comprehend it. You are not apprehensive about it. Because lack of understanding your relationship will cause fear, will cause anxiety, will cause depression, will cause pain, will cause broken trust. If you do not understand your spouse, it will even cause a lot of disconnection in your emotional state. You might be in that marriage right now, you might be in that relationship, but you know that you are not connected with your spouse. You know you're not connected in that marriage. You know that you've already left. You're just there. You're just waiting for whatever to happen. So, lack of understanding is a big issue in relationships and marriages today. So, you must want it. Number two, we need to express ourselves. If you try to understand your spouse, you must give the opportunity for each person to express themselves. One person cannot be expressing themselves in marriage and then you expect other people to know or to understand. They must be open. You must make sure that each person express themselves in such a way that they are free to be them. Okay, you have this open, honest environment where each person can just be them. Each person can just express them and be themselves. This is very powerful. This is very profound. Otherwise, it will be very difficult for you to build understanding in your marriage and in your relationship. The other thing again is you need to build up your and her emotional intelligence. I mean, because you understand yourself, it's very easy to regulate yourself, regulate your emotions. It's very easy to build relationship with yourself, which I call intrapersonal relationship. You need to have relationship with yourself, self-love with yourself. You need to understand who you are. You need to look after yourself so that you'll be able to understand somebody else and know how they react and act so you can have a better relationship. We need to listen actively as well because you can't understand your spouse if you're the one only talking, the one only giving commandment, the one only being the one giving all the do's, the don'ts, and all that, and the other person does not have any say. I mean, think about it in your marriage and your relationship right now. If you are the only one doing the talking, but there are two people in the relationship, you don't inform the other person when you make major decisions. You're very in a hurry to do whatever you want. Whatever you decide is final. Nobody talks, nobody gives any advice, and the other person is not allowed to even be themselves. Then how do you expect to build understanding? To build understanding, you must be an active listener. And also, we need to accept our natural differences. Remember, I told you earlier that this is so profound. It's important that you build yourselves up, but you need to understand that to do that, your natural differences are key. And you need to understand individual differences of your spouse. And finally, you must admit greatly that the sexes differ in personality. I mean, this is so powerful. A woman is not man, and a man is not a woman. Okay, I'm going to say that again. A woman is not man, and a man is not a woman. It's important for you to know that there is variation, there is differences being a woman, differences being a man. I mean, if you look at my wife and myself on the screen right now, you will realize that there is no way. I mean, even the body structure, everything is not the same. Being a woman is unique, being a man is unique. So we don't say, well, I'm you and you are me. There's still individuality within the relationship. So it's good for us to respect each other in their boundary of personality differences as a male or as a female. Very, very powerful. Okay, so I just want to hear from every one of us here. For those that have been here, thank you so much for joining us. I know that a lot has been said here, and I believe that it provided a lot of value to you. So, if what we have shared, if what we have discussed has made any meaning to you, has really supported you, please, I would like you to put some comments on the comment box, okay, and just let me know what you have learned today and what you can do to become better in your relationship. We had a lot of comments here from KG. Okay, she was saying someone else needs to be loved, not just how you need to be loved. Okay, understanding is when you care about how someone else needs to be loved, not just how you need to be loved. That's very good. Absolutely, absolutely fact. Understanding who you are first before marriage and even in marriage. Okay, so these are some of the comments that is coming through, and I want to say that it's important for us to just build our relationship. It's important for us to just empower ourselves. It's important for us to discover ourselves and to know that if you can come from the place of understanding, your relationship will thrive. Your relationship will build up. Your relationship will even change and even be better. I want to use this moment as well just to share with you something that we do in married life management, because I believe that it is your choice. All right. It is your choice to either stay in isolation or in ignorance or not working on yourself or being the best version of yourself. It is your choice. But it's also your choice to have knowledge, just like we've shared today, and begin to work on yourself to see how you can understand your spouse better in order to build a happy and a fulfilling relationship. Great relationships aren't discovered, they are created. Anyone with sufficient motivation and a willingness to do the work that is required for a successful relationship is capable of achieving this regardless of their background, personal history, personality, and predispositions. If you are motivated and you're willing to find out how to understand your spouse, how to be a better spouse, how to change the situation and circumstances of your life through proper understanding of who you are and then what you can offer in the relationship by being unique and different, then you will see the changes and transformation that will happen in your relationship. I have been married for 12 years. And one of the things that have helped me and my missus in our marriage, in our relationship, is the ability to understand what I have shared today, to understand ourselves so that we can become the best version of ourselves in our relationship. Because if you know yourself right, if you understand your spouse, and if you know how your spouse operates and how you work, then what else again are you looking for? There will be joy, there'll be happiness, there'll be satisfaction, there'll be peace, there'll be unity, and every blessing that comes from the place of understanding your spouse and your uniqueness, you will see this transformation and the change. Why that is so crucial to building your relationship. The world has gone through so many challenges this year. Many relationship has gone through unbelievable strain because now they were meant to stay together. But let me just highlight this. I'm sorry if anybody has gone through an unimaginable pain during this period. I wish things would have been better. But could you imagine if there was understanding before the pandemic? If there was understanding in the relationship, in the marriage, before the pandemic, before the lockdown all over the world, and then you are now together because you understand you're able to work things out even in the place of confusion, in the place whereby life become hard and difficult. Seeing yourself will not become a place of fight, a place of trouble, a place of destruction. Seeing yourself will become a place whereby you enjoy the fellowship, you enjoy the togetherness, spending time together, even though you might be working. But every opportunity of seeing your spouse in the hallway, or seeing them in their office, or speaking to them, or having time with them, going out for work, doing any exercise, whatever you do, seeing your spouse so many times in a day becomes a treasure for you. Seeing your spouse so many times becomes a pleasant something for you. Seeing your spouse all the time becomes a place whereby you just feel that this is where I want to be. This is how I want to be. This is how I want to live my life. When you don't have proper understanding in your relationship, you can't be in a place of joy. You can't be in a place of happiness. I mean, the satisfaction that you seek in your relationship, you won't find it. And you will not be consistently happy. So if you can understand yourself first, like I've talked about, and then you also understand your what you are bringing to the relationship as a unique individual, as a unique personality, then by the time I talk about knowing your spouse in our next section, and also talking about the other aspect of how you can match yourselves, you can build an amazing relationship, an amazing marriage. This is so profound, and this is really, really unique. I want to use this moment just to talk about this three couples mastermind group, which we're launching this week on the 27th on my birthday. And if you want to be part of this, where we're gonna, support you, build you up, and help you to continue to be the best version of yourself. If you want to join this group, just go to the website on the screen and become part of that group. It's going to be an awesome and amazing group where we work together to make sure that you become the best version of yourselves for your spouse. These are some of the products you can see that I'm involved in. Some of these books are on Amazon. Recreating Your Honeymoon Experience is going to be coming up on the 21st when I launch the Love Framework Mastery Program. So I can't wait to release this book and to see how it can help relationships and to make things better. You can connect with me. If you like this section, please, I want you to share this with your friends and family. If you believe that what we've shared can just support a marriage, support a relationship, please just share it with your other colleagues on WhatsApp, on your different media post, so that someone can just see this and it can help them become the best version of themselves in their marriages, in their relationship. The other thing again, you can join me as well on Facebook, a various community group, on Instagram, Married Life Management underscore is also there as well. You can send me email, go to my website. There's a lot of things there, a free book that can also support you become the best version of yourself. I want to say that today has just been amazing. It's been great. And I know that the value we have shared here today can profoundly affect your relationship to make it better as you continue to build yourselves up. Just to recap, we have spoken about the number one criteria, and it's understanding. Understanding is key to create a satisfying marriage in your relationship, a satisfying place whereby you are happy, you are peaceful, something that is strong, desirable, something that you love, and something that you be grateful that you become part of building, because you created an environment to understand you and to understand your spouse so that you can work together to become the best version of yourself and offer yourselves a great relationship together as husband and wife. I'm so happy that you joined us. And thank you so much for being part of this series. And I'm hoping that the next one we're going to be talking about, how to understand your spouse and how to merge both of you together to build even further and deeper level of understanding in your relationship so that you can have a beautiful relationship and marriage. I want to say thank you so much for being part of this section today. And I believe that, as you take action, as you practice, you will see your relationship soar, you see your relationship get better and better. So remain blessed, and I will see you in a week's time. God bless you. Thank you.